Hello and welcome to the Success with Savita podcast, where we share hot tips on how to do life and business without losing your mind. I'm your host, Savita Nanjappa, entrepreneur, high achieving 9 to 5er turned transformational success coach, helping you create a wildly successful business. Come hang out with me and other fabulous humans like you every week for stories and chats packed with a healthy dose of tips, resources, how to's, and real talk. Side effects may include a happier and more confident you with each passing day. Welcome to the Success with Savita podcast, and today I'm going to be doing a solo episode. There aren't any guests that I'm interviewing for this week, and I'm going to be talking about a topic which you will hear me talking about a lot on my social media, in my coaching programs, in my webinars, about the qualities that successful people share. I wanted to start my solo episode by speaking about this topic because, as a success coach, a lot of people, when they reach out to me, ask me, how are you going to make me successful? A. And B, how do you define success? What does success mean to you? And here's the thing, there isn't one specific definition of success because to each one of us, it's different. What success looks like in our lives is different for every single person around the world. And what is true to you, what you would call success, may not be the same for me, right? And so I don't really share a definition of success, but definitely talk about the qualities or the mindset that you need to build a successful life, to build a successful business, to have a successful relationship, right? For you to be able to create the kind of life that you deserve, create the kind of life you want to live. These are some qualities that you should develop if you don't already have that. Or as I'm sharing the qualities, you may be able to resonate with it, saying, yeah, this is something that I do, or this is something that I don't do enough of. And so let me get started by sharing number one, passion for your work. Of course, we talk about find what you love and you'll never feel like it's work, and that itself is a journey often. But when you find it, when you're doing the thing that you say you love to do, when you're doing the work that you love to do, that passion, it just shines through. And you will find that when you're speaking to truly successful people, when they are breaking down what they do, when they're sharing how their product works or how their service works or why it's going to impact you, how it's going to change your life, you can see their enthusiasm for their work just shine through in their body language, in their energy, in how they show up, as leaders for their businesses, in how they show up for their teams. So it really comes across in their vibration, and okay, this person really believes passionately about what they do. This person loves what they do. And you don't need to shout out from rooftops when you love what you do because it is so obvious. So really, number one quality is enthusiasm and passion for your craft. The second quality is collaboration and networking, because literally your relationship capital is your biggest capital in your business, right? And if I've not spoken enough about networking yet, but you will hear me speaking a lot about this, where I say intentionally network, intentionally collaborate with people in your industry or in cross functional teams. Seek out people that you can build a partnership with, and often it may not be something that you can create now, you can collaborate on now, and it may be something that you do much later, but start to invest in those relationships, because collaboration and networking is the shortcut to success. So when you collaborate, you will see that ripple effect across your business, across your social media, across your marketing, and it really starts to fast track you towards success. You are who you know, and you may start out by knowing no one in your industry or in your field, and often it doesn't have to be the biggest titans in your industry or industry leaders. It can be people at your own level but who have the drive and ambition, and together you are leveling up. Together you're building your own careers, your own businesses, and succeeding. So find those partnerships and find those collaborations where you don't just take away from the relationship, but you're also contributing to the relationship, and intentionally create collaborations. The third quality is consistency. You can be the best mind in the business. You can have the greatest talents. You can have the most fantastic ideas. But none of that matters if you don't have the consistency to see through, if you don't have the grit to see it through. The people who win, when you think about the hare and the tortoise, it's not the fastest person who won, but it's the person who kept moving, right? The turtle kept moving, but the hare took a break. So the person who's the most consistent is the one who wins, who in 5 years would have outpaced their competition by more than anything else. Often you see this happen, play out so easily. Like, just go watch social media, just go watch some of the businesses. You'll see them show up a couple of times a month, a few times maybe in a week. Then you'll see maybe no activity, and then suddenly you'll see them show up again and there's like a lot of activity, and then again like there's nothing. So this is inconsistent for your business. Inconsistency in your business never actually leads to massive success. So consistency is really key, and you have to know that whatever I'm sharing today, you don't need anything else to start doing these things. You can just start doing them today. You can start showing up right now. After you listen to this episode, you can start showing up and doing these things. So number 3 is consistency, and number 4 is failing forward. And what do I mean by failing forward? All of us, we understand, or if we don't, we should, that failure and success is two sides of the coin, same coin. And successful people know, and they've often failed. They failed a lot more than they succeeded, right? But their consistency kept seeing them through it, which means they got up, they got hit in the face, but they got up, dusted themselves off, and tried again. But what failing forward means is that you learned from that failure, you've taken away something from that failure, and you keep moving. You apply it and you keep moving. So you just don't keep failing and keep doing the same thing, but you fail, you learn from it, and then you ask the better question, you tweak your product, you try something else, you try a different offering, but you keep moving forward. You don't stop. A lot of us, when we fail, we allow it to become a game stopper for us, and we end up taking time in recovery. We end up taking time to get back in the saddle, so to say. And that is something that successful people do really well. They get hit in the face, they quickly get up, they see how they can avoid it, and then they keep moving forward. Okay, that's number 4 for you. And number 5 is they ask for help and hire the best. What is wrong is most people feel like, I'm the best person to do this job. And so especially if you're a small business owner, you end up doing everything yourself, and at the end of it, you've just blown your adrenals. Instead, if you could hire the right people for the right job, so you know what your strengths are, you know what is absolutely your zone of genius, you know parts of the business that you ought to do, and only you are the right person to do that job. But there's so many other parts that we take on. Yes, in the early days when you're not making a massive income, it's different. But once you start to make that money, you should hire the right people in your business. And hiring your team takes some time, figuring out who you're hiring. And this is a lesson that I learned very early on in my business, and I've sometimes repeated this mistake, but I'm learning. I assure you, I'm learning fast. I sometimes would hire someone even if they didn't know the job, because I felt like I had the time to teach them, to train them, and handhold them. But it turned out that that really doesn't help, because I already had my hands full, and then you're bringing in a team member who doesn't know the job, and because they don't know, you have to handhold them every step of the way, so they're not picking it up really fast, and so you actually end up having more work on your plate because you spend some time training this person, and it becomes pain versus it being of value or help to you. So make sure when you hire the best person. Hire someone who has the experience. You may have to pay a little bit more, but it's worth it, because they will get the job done, so you can be free to do the things that absolutely you ought to do. And so let me recap the qualities that most successful people share. And that is, number 1, enthusiasm and passion for your craft. Collaboration and networking, intentionally collaborating, creating partnerships, and intentionally networking. Consistency and grit, hanging in there, showing up even on the days that you just can't get out of bed today, but you still show up for your business, for your team, for your people, for yourself. Day after day takes discipline, and consistency is key to success. And number 4 is failing forward, and number 5 is get help, ask for help, seek help, and hire the best people for the job. Build an A team. And with that, I hope you liked the episode and resonated with what I had to share today. If you liked what you heard so far, please leave me a review, subscribe, follow on whichever platform that you're listening to me on. But also feel free to come and leave me a DM on my Instagram, Success with Savita. That's our handle. Come and share with me your views. And with that, thank you and have a fabulous day. Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you like this episode and you want more, you can go to the show notes on my website, which is successwithsavita.com/podcast. If you like what you've heard so far, I would be grateful to you if you could leave me a 5-star review, subscribe to this podcast, and share with a friend who may find this useful. You can also follow me on my Instagram at Success with Savita and DM me any questions you may have, and I will be happy to answer them for you. Until the next episode, believe in yourself and all the best to your success.